Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Grayboardgamer here with the fourth and final game of my small box playthrough series, Herbaceous, from Dr. Finn's Games. Let's get this box open and get it set up. I'll be playing the solo variant of Herbaceous, and the setup is similar to the multiplayer setup with a few changes, and I'll explain those throughout the setup, but it's a quick setup. First, each player gets the 4 containers, which are color-coded according to player on the back of the cards, so you can find them quite easily. And the 4 containers that you get are the large pot, the wooden planter, small pots, and the glass jar. These 4 containers or planters are going to be where we're planting our herbs in order to maximize the amount of points we'll get at the end of the game. And what you can put in the container depends on the type of container, and it's outlined on the bottom here, or the bottom left of each card. You can see the 3 little leaf symbols, which just means plants, and they have equal symbols between them. In this pot, or this large pot, you can only put the same type of plant. They have to all be the same. And according to how many cards you're able to get in there, that's how many points you'll get at the end of the game. In the wooden planter, it's just the opposite. You want all different types of plants. There can only be one of each kind in there, and they all have to be different. And again, you get your points according to how many you're able to plant in there. In the small pots, you're doing it in pairs of different kinds of plants. So you can have 2 of one kind of plant, 2 of another, 2 of another, and so on in pairs in order to score points. And then finally, in the glass jar, you can put up to 3 cards of any type, it doesn't matter, but the glass jar is the only place the special herbs go, and on those cards they have the circle with a number in them, which gives bonus points. So you do get points for each card that you put in here, up to 6 if you put 3 cards in it, and you get the bonus points on the special herbs. Let me find some, like the mint is worth 1 point, thyme is worth 3, chives are worth 2, and so on. Those special herbs again cannot go anywhere but the jar, but anything else can also go in the jar. Next we will take the deck of herb cards and special herb cards, and it's a deck of 72. We're going to give this a good shuffle. And then for this solo variant, you're going to eliminate half the deck. So after I shuffle it, I will take 36 cards off, put them to the side, and only use 36 for the playthrough. I gave them a couple of good thorough shuffles. We'll do another quick mix just to make sure we're completely mixed up. And now we'll take 36 cards. Those ones that we took off the top, we'll place them off to the side and they're out of the game. And then the 36 remaining will be our draw pile for our playthrough. Then we'll take our biscuit, which is worth 5 points at the end of the game. And if we're able to plant all 3 of the special herbs in the glass jar, then we can take the biscuit for 5 additional points. This just goes on the board and it's able to be taken by us if we manage to put all 3 of those types of herbs in the jar, which is not easy, and I've only done it 1 time so far. Next, each player gets their identifier to show what's in the private garden and what's in the community garden. And this gets placed on the board. And then all cards below it here will be in the player's garden. Anything above it will be in the community garden. Now we'll get the game started. For the setup, you take the first card, which unfortunately in this case is one of our special herbs, which is a chive. But the first card you draw starts the discard pile. The next two cards you draw will be the starting cards for the community garden. And we got mint and sage. Mint is one of the special herbs, so that's good. Unfortunately, we have one in the discard pile also. And then the sage. And as the cards come out the first time, I'll put them close to the camera so you can see the nice artwork. And then the next three cards will go down here in our private garden. And we got rosemary, lavender, and another lavender. So we're on our way to either collecting a set of several like cards, or we can use those as a pair maybe. And that is it. We are set up and ready to start. The game's going to move fairly quickly too. The rounds go by fast, so we'll probably get more than one playthrough in here. In the solo variant, you can pot plants on the first turn. You don't have to, but in the multiplayer you cannot. And the only instance that I would probably do that if somehow number 1, 2, and 3, all the special herbs came out, I'd get them in the jar right away so I could grab the biscuit for the extra points. But in this case, we're not going to pot any of these plants. So since we're not potting, we can plant them now. And when we plant them, we're going to draw 3 cards from the draw pile. And when we do so, we do them one at a time and we choose where they're going to go. It's either going to go into the community garden, the private garden, or the discard pile. And one can only go in each location. For example, if I draw one, put it in the community garden, when I draw the next one, it has to either go discard or private garden. So if I chose private garden for that one, that means the third card I draw would have to go into the discard pile. And that's how the rounds go, and you keep doing those 3 card draws, determining one at a time where they're going to go, one in each location. Then you have to decide when you're going to pot the plants. And once you use a pot, you can only use it one time. That's it. That pot is basically locked into whatever score, whatever cards you put under it. And also, at any time, if there are 5 cards in the community garden, and this is during the solo variant, if there are 5 cards here, as soon as there's 5, they all get discarded to the discard pile. The object of the solo variant is to get as many points as possible. And what you're trying to do is place as high as you can on this scoring chart. The best I've been able to do so far is between 47 and 51 points. Talented gardener. So we'll see if we can best that score and move up to one of the higher levels or not. We will start by drawing a card, and this one we're going to want to keep because it's time. And I can either put it in the community or private. I'll go ahead and put it in the community garden. And I forgot to mention, when you pot plants, you can draw from either or location. So I could take 2 cards from here, 3 from there, and so forth. You can take them from any of these locations. You just cannot take them from the discard pile. So we put time there. Our second card is saffron. I don't know what's coming up next, so I don't want to lock that card in to the discard pile. I don't have any saffron out here that I would pair, so I'm going to discard it, and we're going to get dill. And it has to go into my private garden. There's no limit how many can be in the private garden, because that's just, let me move these a little bit. That way I can double up some cards so we stay in frame. There's no limit to the amount in the private garden. And that's one whole turn already. At the beginning of the turn is when you decide if you're going to pot any plants or not. I don't have enough. I mean, I do have enough to pot something. If I potted like 4 different ones, I could put that in the box here, but that would only give us 6 points. That's a little bit early. I'm hoping I can get a 2 here, get some chives, and then I can pot them into the jar. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the special herbs can only go in the jar. They can't go in any of these planters here. And we got some rosemary, which would go well there with the one we have to make a pair. The thing you get the most points for, if you can get a lot of cards, is if they're all the same here in the large pot. And then your second highest scoring pot are the small pots with the pairs, followed by the wooden planter, and then the jar. So I'm going to keep this in my private garden. Tarragon. Again, I don't want to throw away what's coming next automatically. So I'll put tarragon into the discard, and we'll get some bay leaves, and those will go into the community garden. And now we're at a point where I should plant something, because if I don't choose to plant here at the beginning of this round, then the 5th card is going to come out. All those are going to go to the discard pile, and I'm going to lose the ones that are there. And I want to get the bonus points from the time and the mint. It doesn't look like I'm going to get the chance. Well, I'm not going to get the chance. So what I'll do is I'll pot here at the beginning of the round, and I'll pot the time and the mint, and I can pick one other card to go with it. And I want to clear up space in the community garden, that way I can get more cards drawn out before I have to pot again, especially since I got a couple of pairs going here. I'll just make a choice and go with the bay leaf. All 3 of these will go into the glass jar. So I'll get 6 points for it because there's 3 cards in it, and then I'll get 4 points also for the special herbs. So the glass jar has been used and cannot be used again during this playthrough. We move on to the planting, and we get another saffron. I've already thrown away one of these, so I'm going to go ahead and throw away that one too. Consider that something I'm not going to use a lot of. Now we got sage, and that's great. That's going to pair well with what's in the community garden, and we will get a dill. Another really good draw for us. We have 4 pairs already. That's looking really good. I mean, that's worth 14 points. If we can manage to get 2 more pairs, we can plant them and get the max score out of these small pots, which is a nice big 18 points. I'm not going to plant at the beginning of the round because we're nowhere near filling up the community garden. And now we got a sage. Now I want to make a choice. Maybe I keep it because it'll start moving us towards having like cards. Maybe I'll go for that instead, because if I get 5, well, I'm not going to get up to 5 unless I get another sage for here. That's a tough choice. I think I'll hold on to it. So we'll put that there. Another saffron, and we'll sacrifice that to the discard pile. And a rosemary is going to have to go into our private garden. I only have 3 cards here, so I'm not going to plant yet. And we get a bay leaf. I know we've tossed a bay leaf away already. Let's get rid of it. Maybe we'll get another rosemary or sage, and we'll go for this pot next. Oh, we got a tarragon. I'll just put it here since it doesn't matter where it goes at this point, since we can take from both locations. And then we got another tarragon, which means I'm definitely going to go for the small pots. So here at the beginning of the round, I'm going to pot, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pairs. That's going to get me 16 points. That's definitely worth it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different pairs, 10 cards. We'll pot those into the small pots, and you can see those 10 cards are going to give us 16 points, which is a nice boost to the score. We're doing well early on. Well, it's more like the halfway point since we've already used up 2 of our pots. And now we'll continue on with the round. Rosemary, I'll keep that here for myself. Maybe we'll make a run for that one. Chive. This is no good to us now because it can only go in the glass jar, and the glass jar has already been planted in. And this one's no good to us either. Looks like we had plenty of the special herbs this time, but we just didn't get them at the right time. I'm not going to plant, so I'll draw dill. I do have the one that's going to take ones that are different, so I'll hold on to the dill. Tarragon. I'll get rid of the tarragon because I don't want to. I didn't want to get locked into throwing something away. I thought it might be a rosemary. But the saffron, which is okay because we got a good selection of different ones. This one is not doing us any good though. Definitely should have put that into our garden. I made a mistake of putting it up there. We're not potting. Now we got a sage. Rosemary. Keeping that one, so this one has to go to the discard pile, and it's a saffron, which does not hurt us. And now we have to pot because we're at 4 and we're getting close to the end of the draw pile too. When the draw pile runs out and you place the last card out, you get to use a pot if you have it available. Now I have to choose. If I take the 3, that's going to give me 10 points. If I take 1, 2, 3, 4, I only have 4 different ones. That's going to give me 6 points. But what are the odds I'm going to get a couple of rosemaries to get me up to 4 or 5? And then also, that's tough. Because what's going to happen is if I do the rosemary, the next card that comes out is going to wipe those out. I'll take the 10 points. That way I can clear that time card out of there because it's not doing me any good anyway. And there's another sage, and we want different cards because that's the only pot we have left is the wooden planter. So we'll put that there. That way there's 5 there, and they'll go away and get discarded. And now we're hoping to see a bunch of different things. Tarragon we'll keep because it's different from saffron. And this goes to the discard pile. We're not going to plant because we still have cards. Dill we'll keep because it's different. This dill we will discard. And whatever this is will go here, and it's the last card, which means we will plant. We will pot. Unfortunately, it's a saffron, which means we only have 3 different. Since we're out of cards, we have the chance to pot one last group. And that is it. As you can see, the game goes really quick. It's a quick little solo game. This card will not get used, and we were unable to secure the biscuit, but we will now tally our score and see how we did. Let's take a look at each of these. Our large pot, we have 3 that are alike, which is going to get us 10 points. So we have 10. We have 3 different ones in here, which will gain us 4. So we're at 14. This was our big score. This we had 5 different pairs, which will get us 16. So we're up to 30. Not terrible, but not great. And then finally, the jar, we know there's 3 cards in it. It's going to give us 6 for 36. And an additional 4 points of special herbs, which will take us up to 40, which is not good at all. We're only here in the beginner planter. Didn't even make it to clever cultivator or the talented gardener level that I've made it to, and nowhere near breaking through these upper levels. And like I said, the game goes quick, so we'll get everything ready, set up, and do an additional playthrough. We'll give this another go. Gonna lose some tarragon. We got a mint and a bay leaf, some more tarragon, sage, and another bay leaf. It's a good looking start. Definitely not going to pot anything yet. Sage, we will keep that. Lavender, get rid of that in case we get a special, and we did. Good. So now we got thyme and mint. Not going to pot anything. Dill, I'm going to get rid of. And not really. Can't get rid of it completely. And then the last one is going to go up here. That's the bay. If I pot pears, that'll only give me 8. If I pot 3 cards into the jar, I could do that. 3 that are the same would give me 10 points. I could do better than that. I only have the 2 pairs. I'm going to pot the mint, the thyme, and one of the bay leaves. That way, that'll give me a total of 10 points with that bonus tacked on. We got another bay leaf. I'm going to keep it. A dill. I'm going to keep that, and then we'll discard lavender. That worked out pretty good. I'm not going to pot anything, and I got 3 pairs going, and I got 3 of a kind there. Dill. I'm going to keep it. Sage. I'm going to get rid of the sage. And I'm stuck with some lavender there. Still only have 3 here, so no potting. Tarragon. That'll make another pair. That's nice. Lavender. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. I could get 5 pairs out of this. Yeah. We'll keep the lavender and discard the dill. Darn it. That would have been nice. But before we start here, we'll go ahead and pot our pears. I got 2 lavender, 2 bay leaves, 2 dill, 2 sage, 2 tarragon. Nice. 10 cards in all. Give us a nice 16 points at the end of the game. That worked out much better. Saffron. Maybe I should keep it to go for the ones that are different. And then I'll get rid, well, or I'll keep it. Yeah, I'll keep it. Now I got 2 that are the same, and we'll get rid of a rosemary. Because we got a lot of room up here. No potting. Tarragon is different. We'll keep that. Tarragon, the same. No, let's get rid of it. And we have a rosemary. I can hear my cat outside the door. She wants to come in and play some herbaceous too. No need to pot anything. Deck's getting low though. Rosemary, we have one of those. We really need some saffron. Oh, there we go. Saffron, and then we'll keep thyme. It's not going to do me any good. But now do we want to pot? How are we doing here? Got a couple more rounds to go. We still got room up there. Let's go ahead and skip potting. Chive. That's not going to do us any good. We'll just get rid of that. Bay leaf. Doesn't matter where it goes. And then sage. I'll put that right there. And now, before we draw our last cards, we need to pot. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different. That would give me 8 points. If I threw in a saffron, that would give me 12, but the ones that are the same are worth more. Because even just 3 saffron gives me 10. So we'll go that route. We'll keep the saffron. We'll pot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ones. And we'll see what our last cards are. Well, we definitely don't need that. Get rid of it just in case we have some saffron here. We have sage and tarragon. No luck. For our final potting, we'll use the saffron and see how our score ended up this time. Move these out of the way. Yep, didn't get to get the biscuit through any of these. We have 3 of the same. That's going to give us 10. 5 different will give us 8 for 18. We got 5 pairs there for 16 plus the 18. Put us at 34. And then we'll get 6 points. 34. It's going to take us up to 40. Plus 4 additional points for 44. And we finally did better than the beginning planner and made it to the clever cultivator. Only 3 points away from making it to the talented gardener, which is the best I've done in the past. And that's 3 quick playthroughs of the solo variant of Herbaceous. As you can see, it's quick. It's a nice little quick game if you don't have a lot of time. And then the players, if you're doing a multiplayer, it's pretty much the same. And you can see how you can score points and plant things in a certain order. Plus, the community garden is open to everybody in the regular game, in the multiplayer version. So you have to watch out, keep a track which pots they have open, what they have going on in their private garden, maybe figure out what they're trying to go for. And only the first player gets the biscuit too, so if there's any of these herbs, these special herbs out there in the community garden, you got to be careful too, because only one person can gain that 5 points. The game is fun. I like it. I like that it's really quick. So if I only got 10 or 15 minutes and I want to do a solo game real quick, there it is for me. But let me go ahead and give you my final thoughts in their entirety. Starting with the rule book. Easy. Well laid out. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of rules, so it's not exactly complex. You have your multiplayer setup, how the gameplay flows. You only really have 2 steps. Either you're potting herbs or you're not. And then you're going into planting. And then the game end and the scoring. You have variants, team play. It also comes with another little rule card, or rule pamphlet more like it. Gives you all the solo variant, tells you how to set it up, how to play through it. Very easy to follow. One time through it and I was able to learn the game. Nice, quick, easy, simple little thing. The components, and the only cardboard is these right here, the private garden. Let me open up the box too. And you can see the other private garden tokens have their spot. There's room for both decks in here, or both halves of the deck easily. There's plenty of room. Like, here's the half of the deck I didn't use in my solo playthrough. You can see how much room there is in there. These are the other player cards. Mine also came with the Flavor Pack mini expansion, and this is good for multiplayer. It adds a couple more special things in that allow you to do different things, like exchange an herb from your private garden with one from the community, so you can like pull one of those special herbs out and protect it for yourself. Stuff along those lines. Also, the game comes with 4 of these 2-sided player aids. Tells you exactly what they mean. Gives you the 2 steps. So, plenty of information right at hand, nice and easy, not hard to figure out the game at all. The cards, I mean, you can see the cards. The art on them is really nice. I like this watercolor style for the herbs. I like this a lot. And the cards themselves, we got linen finish, sturdy cards, shuffle, slide, really easy. Really good quality cards also, combined with the nice artwork, is a really good combination. Nice sturdy box, nice insert. Instruction book, concise and easy. A theme, I mean, the theme definitely holds up. There's no problem there. Even the backs of the cards you can see are nice and thematic. Very well done. I mean, it definitely holds up throughout the game. You never get taken out of it because of a bad component or a component that doesn't carry the theme through. No issues at all. The theme is fun. Herbs, gardening. I don't know if there's a large market. I mean, there are a lot of games out there that are into either farming or gardening and different things like that. So there's definitely a market for these types of games. I enjoy it, but I really don't have a whole lot more to say on it. It's a nice simple little card game that's really enjoyable, super easy to teach, super quick. So for people that don't like a lot of rules, like my wife, she hates when I sit down and try and explain a lot of rules to her. This game appeals to her a lot because I can spend just 5 minutes and we're into the game. So that really goes well for maybe a gateway or teaching somebody. Would also make a really good filler game because you can get it over with quick while people are finishing a game that you and maybe a couple other people have been knocked out of. Or you can use it yourself. If you're the only one out, you can do a couple solo games while they're finishing up too. So there's a lot of good applications for it. Really enjoyed it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think of it if you have it already. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to click on these links and check out the other videos on the channel. If you like what you see, please consider supporting the channel through Patreon or the link to my GoFundMe page in the video description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave some comments and let me know what you think. Your support is appreciated, and I'll see you in my next video.